Hello children. Now, yesterday I explained the poetic devices, some common ones which are used. Today I'll be dealing with the poetic devices used in the poems. Let me start one by one. So, My Mother at 66 by Kamla Das. Now, what are the poetic devices that have been used by Kamla Das in this poem? Now, first, the two similes that have been used. Her face ashen like that of a corpse, where we find the mother's face has been compared to that of a dead body. You can see the word like has been used to compare. In the second one you get, I looked again at her, worn pale as a late winter's moon. So the paleness again of the mother has been amplified. Once again, it is being compared to that of a late winter's moon that is hazy, unclear, okay, pale. And another important thing is winter is the end of the year. Similarly, the mother had almost reached the end of her life. Now, the next, let us come to imagery. Two images we are getting. One is of the young trees sprinting and the other the merry children spilling out of their homes. Now, in young trees sprinting, you also get a personification. Human characteristic has been given to the trees. The trees are being called young. That is one thing. And the second thing, it is sprinting. The verb sprinting has been used. Next figure of speech, we come to repetition. All I did was smile and smile and smile. The word smile has been repeated thrice by the poet Kamla Das. Somewhere or the other, she wants to give the assurance to herself also of the survival of her mother. She wants to hide her emotions, the roller coaster of emotions going on in her mind. And that's the reason why you find that the word has been repeated. As I told you, these are the ornaments. The poets, they use the figures of speech, the poetic devices to decorate their poems, and this is what has been done by Kamla Das also. Let us come to the next poem, that is A Thing of Beauty by John Keats. All of us, we know that John Keats was a poet belonging to the Romantic age, and the poem has been written in rhyming couplet. So what do you mean by rhyme? You can, if you see the end of each line, you will find the words they are rhyming, and in the couplet form, that means one after the other, two words they rhyme. You see how it is. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases, it will never. Now forever and never, they are rhyming. Again, keep and sleep, you find they are rhyming. Breathing, earth, dirt. So that is how you will find that how we are getting the poem in the form of, it has been written in the form of rhyming couplets. So the rhyme scheme is A, B, B. Now, metaphor. Let us come to the metaphors that have been used. First, to get bower quiet. So the quiet, shady part of the garden, the happiness one gets in the midst of beauty has been compared to the happiness that one gets in a bower quiet, that is in a quiet, shady part of the garden. Similarly, sweet dreams, the happiness that one gets in the midst of beauty is similar to the happiness that one gets when when one enjoys seeing beautiful dreams, happy dreams. Then wreathing a flowery band. So wreathing a flowery band is like weaving a garland of beautiful things in nature, that is getting connected to nature. Moving away the pall. Pall is again, the comparison is that the darkness which is brought by death. Pall is a shroud. Similar is the darkness that we have to face when we are unhappy in life, when we are sorrowful in life. And things of beauty, they remove the pall, the darkness. Endless fountain of immortal drink. Again, it is the deeds of great people that make them a source of inspiration. So their deeds, the deeds of great people, they are endless. Okay, and they are like endless fountain, eternal fountain of immortal drink. Again, you can call it as elixir. Okay, so the inspiration that one gets from the deeds of great people is incessant, endless. It never comes to an end. Now, the next figure of speech that we get is alliteration. You can see alliteration. It is the repetition of the consonant sound at the beginning of the word. So here we get, again, remember, it is the sound, not the letter. So noble nature. In this, you get the repetition of n sound. In cooling cupboard, you get the repetition of k sound. Cooling k, covered k. Band to bind, again you get the repetition of b sound. Now, let us come to the next one. Imagery. Now, what are the imageries that we are getting? Flowery band, gloomy days, shady moon, clear rills, daffodils with the green worlds, rich with the sprinkling of fair musk roses blooms, cooling covert me, grandeur of dooms, endless fountain of eternal drink. All these are the images which have been created by God. You can visualize it, you can imagine the picture. That is what you call it as imagery. Now, next, let us come to transferred epithet. Gloomy days. Now, why is it transferred epithet? Now, not the days are not gloomy. The people, they are sad, they are sorrowful, they are gloomy. But the epithet, the adjective, has been transferred from people to the days. So, hence, it is transferred epithet. Similarly, unhealthy and over darkened ways. It is not the ways that are darkened, okay, that are unhealthy. It is again, it has been transferred from the people to the ways. So it is transferred epithet. Now, oxymoron. What do you mean by oxymoron? Oxymoron is when two opposite words are kept side by side. Okay, you can see the two words mighty and dead side by side. So it is oxymoron, and here this is antithesis. When an idea is placed side by side, it is called antithesis. When two words are placed side by side, it is called oxymoron. So you can say oxymoron is contradictory terms, whereas antithesis are basically ideas and concepts. Okay, so here you get mighty dead as oxymoron and antithesis trees old and young. So now let us come to the next poem, an important one, that is an elementary school classroom in a slum. Now in this, let us start with the metaphors. What are the metaphors that we are getting? Rat's eyes. See, the eyes, the protruding eyes of the boy sitting in the classroom is being compared to that of the rat's eyes. Why is it protruding? It is protruding. Rat's eyes, they protrude due to hunger. They look as if they are protruding due to hunger. Similar was we could find that the boy sitting in the classroom, his eyes were protruding due to hunger. Another, so if you write as a simile, how will you write this? His eyes were like the rat's eyes. See, the paper seeming boy, the boy was as thin as paper. So you can see, this is a metaphor. We don't use the word like and as, but still the comparison is there. The paper seeming boy. Now here you can see that the boy was as thin as paper. He was malnourished. So the comparison we are getting, that's the reason the boy has been compared to paper. Now another metaphor that we get, history theirs whose language is the sun. Now those who are, you can see that sun, it symbolizes strength, energy, knowledge, good education, quality education, wisdom. And the poet, he wants the children of the slum to learn the language of the slum, and that's the reason he's seeking the help of the authorities. He says that if the authorities, they take steps, these children too can create history, can get their names into the history books. So all these metaphors we get. Then let us come to the simile. Simile, as you know, children, that you use the word like and as to compare two things. You can see over here that like rootless weeds, the hair spread above around the pale faces of the children, that has been compared to rootless weeds. That is one thing, direct meaning. The other thing, you can say that these children, they don't have a proper root. Okay, they don't have a proper place in society. They are thrown away as the weeds are thrown away, unwanted. Similarly, these children are also unwanted. Then again, you get the comparison like bottle bits of stones, so which reflects the poverty. The spectacles that they wear, they cannot buy new ones, so they mend it. And that, how do they mend it? As if they have pasted bits of bottles, glasses on stones, as big as doom. So their poverty has been compared to as big. So the slum in which they live, that has to be marked. That is what the poet says, that no need of marking these beautiful adventurous places on the world map and hanging it on the wall of the classroom. It is better you should make a different map for them, and their map should be blot with slums as big as doom, as big as death. Okay, then you get the imagery. See, weighed down, burdened with the weight. What is, see, weighed down? You get in the very third line, the tall girl with a weighed down head. So you can get that image, the image of a tall girl sitting in the classroom with a head bent down. And why is her head bent down? Because of the burden of the poverty, responsibility. So it is the weight of poverty and hopelessness. Let us come to the next one. And now let us come to the next one, personification. Now, where do we get the personification? See, gusty waves. As the waves, again, I told you, what do you mean by personification? When a non-living thing or animals are given human characteristics, it is called personification. Here, the waves are being called as gusty. See, as the waves have been given human quality, okay, power, okay, strength, energy, enthusiasm. That is why we are getting this as a personification. Another personification that we get is their tongues ran naked. So the tongues ran naked, you can see again. Let us come to the last stanza of the poem. Run azure on gold sands and let their tongues run naked into books. The white and green leaves open. So again, what do we get? The tongues, they cannot, first of all, can the tongues run naked? No. So a human quality has been given. What is the quality about that? About the opportunity that should be given, the opportunity of education, opportunities that should be given to these slum children. So that is why we get that run naked into books. So these children should also get the opportunity of getting proper education. Now let us come to the next figure of speech, that is alliteration. Alliteration, far, far, it has been repeated twice. First, in the very first line, you see far, far. It is another far sound, okay? And again, you get it. Second stanza, the last sentence, far, far from rivers cape. So it has been repeated twice. You will be getting that alliteration. Then again, you get surely Shakespeare, the sh sound in surely and Shakespeare. And then from fog to endless night, from fog, the first sound in from and fog. Then so single-minded, again the s sound in so and single. You get a repetition of that. As I was telling, alliteration is the repetition of the consonant sound. So in far, far, we got that alliteration. But when the word is repeated, it is also called as a repetition. So far, far has been repeated at two places, I told you. Again, break, oh break, you see, break, we get a repetition of break. So that is also a repetition. Then Again, we come to antithesis. You can see cloudless at dawn. I told you that antithesis, when two concepts, two contradictory ideas, they are juxtaposed, that is called antithesis. Now here, cloudless at dawn, two opposite ideas, opposing ideas have been placed together. Then again over here, see, and when everything seems dead, and then be when everything seems dead and be alive, you can see that dead and alive, again two contradictory ideas, they have been put together. Now let us come to the next one. Keeping quiet. Now keeping quiet, what are the figures of speech that we are getting in keeping quiet? First, to get the alliteration. At many places, we are getting the alliteration. You see, we will. Now we will count to 12 and we will. So the word sound you are getting in we will, we would, his, her, hands, the her sound, then was, with, again the were sound, clean clothes, again the k sound in clean and clothes. Again, we were, you will be getting at several places you are getting this. So all this these are alliteration. Excuse me. Now next is antithesis. Again, count to 12 and we shall all keep still. See the contradictory ideas. One is counting. How can one count and be still at the same time? So two ideas. One is counting and the other is keeping still. Two opposite ideas have been placed together. So it is antithesis. Again, dead and alive, as I told you. Then repetition, you are getting repetition of these words without rush, without engine. So without has been repeated. Then was with gas, was with fire. So the word was, it has been repeated twice. Then you get the imagery of cold sea. See, fishermen in the cold sea. Cold sea, actually over here it symbolizes the polar sea, the sea in the polar region. Okay, then you get pun. Okay, a word which has the same meaning or similar sound, but spelling and sound, but the meaning differs. Here you can see that what is the pun that has been used over here is in arms. Arms, it also means hands and it also means weapons. So the poet, hence he has played with this word arms. So we have done all the how many poems we have done today? We have done 4 poems. Okay, my mother at 66, an elementary school classroom in a slum, keeping quiet, and a thing of beauty. In my next class, I'll be doing the other 2 poems. Children, have a nice day. Thank you.